Hi, Pastor John Kuski with another word for the week. So someone says, boy, is our preacher ever inspiring. He gathers so many people at worship. And so I might ask them, what makes him so good? And they might say, well, he's interesting or funny or just has a way of getting into your heart. And yet that still might leave me wondering whether he is actually growing people in faith and in faith living with God. Let me explain why I say that from 1 Corinthians 3. It says, I, Paul, planted, Apollos watered, but God was causing the growth. So then, neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but it is God who causes the growth. So the Corinthian churches could boast about some outstanding preachers and speakers like Paul or Apollos. And certainly they would have held people spellbound by their knowledge and the way that they delivered their messages. They would have gathered large numbers into the church. And yet that would have amounted to nothing if God wasn't inside of those believers giving the growth. In fact, it compares it to a plant. A gardener can properly plant and water and feed and weed that plant. But if the plant isn't taking in moisture, if it's not absorbing the sun, if it's not producing more cells, growing in the way that only God can make it, that plant is finally going to die. And so that gives us kind of some good wisdom as far as those who would be good speakers or maybe inspiring Christian friends. They're a great blessing, but we don't want to get carried away by them to think that by the way that they carry out the message or their lifestyle, that they're going to be the ones that are causing us to grow. No. They can actually be maybe a boring speaker. Maybe a friend who is faithful but isn't so inspiring and getting us to follow in the way that they do. But if they're getting us Jesus, then there's going to be growth. Now, what did Jesus say? I am the way and the truth and the life. So anybody who is getting through to us that Jesus died for our sins, God is removing our guilt. Anybody who's getting through to us that Jesus rose for us is giving us that new life to live more like him. Now, anybody who's getting us to remember Jesus' Bible words for our lives is helping us get the good decisions and the right direction for our lives, because it's God in his way, who is giving us that growth inside. In a sense, really making Jesus our preacher and teacher and leader. That's what makes following Jesus so great, like the postcard says. That's been our theme for these last few weeks, and will continue to be next week. So join us either online, maybe looking back at last week's service, or join us this coming weekend, 5:30 p.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. God bless.